now we want to move into the actually evaluating not only LLMs, but evaluating LLM applications. And this is something that we've also spent some time in our LLM Apps course. So we'll share the link to the other course. And if some of you are building LLM apps, then I would recommend checking this out. But let's still review different evaluation approaches that might be applicable here and compare that with what we have seen in terms of the benchmarks and specific and different evaluation scenarios. But again, let's start with a quote from GPT-4. Evaluating a language model in a production environment is the on-the-job performance measurement of the AI realm. Just like an employee's true aptitude is measured not just by interviews or tests, but by how they handle real tasks and challenges in the workplace, a language model's real efficacy is gauged by how well it performs in its intended application, amidst the unpredictable nuances and variables it will encounter. Well said, GPT-4. These are the 4 different approaches we shared in the other course. They, like, all of them might have different, might be applicable to different situations. What we see happening a lot in the case of building LLM application is something we call vibes check. And this means that a set of human experts or people training models or implementing models look at hand-chosen or hand-picked inputs and generations, and they see how good these generations are. I feel like it's so popular. I think even in the case of like GPT 3.5 fine-tuning, they recommend that as an evaluation method. And it's not ideal. It's hard to compare objectively different models, different generations, but it's something people do, and it's something that definitely is useful as well. So something to keep in mind. Vibes check is frequent way of looking at language models. Model-based evaluation. This allows us to do some automation and maybe run the vibes check in a more comprehensive and automated way. We can do this on a curated or generated data set. We typically use LLM as a judge. We looked at this approach in the context of empty bench, and we've seen that it is often correlated with human judgments. And based on that, we can automatically run our evaluation test and check the accuracy or different metrics that we might be measuring on those data sets. A way to get to do this probably in a bit more robust way is to get more granular. And this is something we call unit testing, and in a similar way on how human eval for each question, for each function, we have a set of unit tests that we need to pass. We can do the same for language model generations. Let's say we're dealing with summarization task, and there might be certain number of like events or facts that we would expect to see in a generation, in a summary. And we can use language models quite effectively to assess that. So this allows us to get more granular. This makes this assessment a bit more objective, and it does require a bit more investment in terms of preparing such an evaluation test. And finally, we probably should be, in many cases, A/B testing in production if the risk of moving a model, like if the risk of the application is limited, then it might be easier to do this. If this is a high risk application, that probably we need to pass a bunch of other tests before testing in production. But the benefit of A/B testing production is we're getting the actual users on a real production distribution, and we can check the metrics that are relevant for our business. So one way we've done this in our LLM application, Weights and Biases, we have our OneBot application that lives on our Discord, and it answers user questions about weights and biases, sometimes correctly, sometimes incorrectly, but we try to measure the percentage of positive responses, the percentage of negative responses based on the user feedback. Or I should say helpful rather than positive and negative. And then if this metric keeps improving as we implement new versions of our app or an LLM, then it means we're making progress. So we should probably keep measuring this type of feedback in production if feasible. There might be also other ways, maybe measuring whether people click on some links that we provide or whether they copy paste from our generations. So many different ways of testing if the users find our generations helpful.